comes from Mike and Carol, and it is called All the Cops Are in the Donut Shop. Father Simon, Sister Susie, Brother Man, we offer you this confession. Anonymity is not required. Although, to be honest, that makes me nervous.
Okay.
We are Mike and Carol, a teaching couple, who in the 10 years from 2003 to 2013 were teaching at an international school in Cairo, in Egypt.
Oh.
Walk like an Egyptian, you see.
Yes. Oh, I see. Right, I get it now. Yeah.
To set the scene, Carol was at the time the class teacher of one of 6 classes in Year 3. It's 25 7 to 8-year-olds per class, mostly all Egyptian, obviously. Mike was the primary IT teacher who taught all of the children in the primary department at some time or another. At the start of each new humanities block of learning, previously known as history and geography, it was deemed necessary by the powers that be that the teaching staff should create what was called a WOW entry point. That was actually what it was called, a WOW entry point.
What?
Make it exciting, basically.
Okay.
The new Year 3 topic was to be ancient Egypt, which was very convenient as all the resources required were easily available. What we needed to construct was a WOW entry point. In the introductory assembly, many Egyptian artifacts were displayed in a newly created raised area at one end of the central space between the classrooms. This was known as the Year 3 pod. Being in Egypt, we had an incredible range of objects from posters, photographs, stone scarab beetles, model pyramids, metal hooks for removing the brain through the nose during the mummification process.
Okay, thanks.
1.5 metre high statues of the gods Anubis, think the evil dog-headed creature, and Horus, the falcon-headed one. And at the back of the display, a life-size mummy laid out on our interpretation of a sarcophagus. I don't think I've ever said metal hook for removing the brain before. At precisely 8:30 a.m., the children quietly-ish filed into the assembly area and tried hard to contain their excitement at seeing the wonders on display. Our year leader, Chiara, regaled the rapt audience with her weekend adventures to the Khan al-Khalili Massive Bazaar in downtown Cairo. I think I got that right.
Yeah, okay.
The Khan al-Khalili Massive Bazaar in Cairo, where almost anything, legal and illegal, can be purchased for the right price. She animatedly described, as only a primary school teacher can, how she had bargained with various vendors for the collection of genuine ancient Egypt objects which were on display. 5 minutes into her presentation, a small group of children became unsettled and somewhat distracted. They were pointing, frowning. This caused nearby teachers to try and instill a sense of quiet and calm in their charges. All seemed to settle down as Chiara continued her tale. However, only a minute or so later, a larger number of children began to whisper and point in the direction of the assembled artifacts. Again, the teachers intervened and did their best to restore order. Nearing the end of Chiara's account, she had arrived at the part where, having bartered long and hard, she was about to complete the negotiations for the most expensive purchase, the mummy. She explained that the seller had seemed particularly eager to get rid of it, even agreeing to a substantial discount. The deal was done. Chiara proudly added that she had managed to get free delivery of the mummy as it wouldn't fit in the taxi.
Oh.
Important.
Right, yeah.
Come on, just push a bit. Put it in the boot. It was at this point, Father Simon, that pandemonium erupted. As I have to report, the mummy jerkily rose to a seated position, eased its bandaged legs over the edge of the sarcophagus, dragged itself up to its full height and slowly lumbered through the remaining children and teachers trailing loose bandages in its wake. Many groups of children jumped up and ran screaming into their classrooms and hid for hours. Some remained rooted to the spot with open mouths and wide eyes. We should explain that before chaos ensued, during Chiara's introduction, the mummy had first of all slightly moved a couple of fingers, causing the more observant children to react. Then it had raised its hand, leading to the greater commotion. The rest, as they say, is history. Ancient Egyptian history.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have left Egypt, we feel able to seek forgiveness from the parents and the Year 3 children who are probably now in their early 20s for the trauma inflicted by Mike, who was, of course, the mummy in question, and the rest of the Year 3 staff who had spent a frantic half hour prior to the assembly wrapping him in strips of bed sheets. I don't think this would ever get commissioned now. More specifically, we feel that forgiveness is needed from Farida, who was so distraught that she had to have a secret meeting with her mum and the mummy to convince her that it really was a staged, fun performance to provide the children with a memorable entry point, a wow entry point, of course, to their new topic. Yours, seeking forgiveness with a large grin on our faces in memory of this episode in our now concluded teaching careers. Anyway, Carol and Mike, once of Egypt, sending in our first Egyptian confession. Sister Susie, voice of authority from the pub.
Do you know what, Mike and Carol? I really was going to forgive you. I was with you all the way through, and I just thought it was absolutely great. However, the fact that one child was so traumatised, I just don't think I can forgive you, and I think that it's a no from me.
It's a no from Sister Susie. Brother from another gutter.
So this wow entry point, I had no idea about this. Goodness me, how much pressure are they on? I mean, what are they going to? How are they going to up that? I mean, mind boggles. You get to Tudors and Stuarts. What are you going to do there? I'm going to forgive just because they were making history come alive, weren't they, for the kids?
Is that right?
And fair enough, they need to be talked down, and one of them clearly more affected than the others. But yeah, I'm going to forgive.